Before watching this video, I just want to let you know that all the opinions within this video are my own, and they're based on a very limited amount of research. This video got way heavier than I thought that it would when I put this tinfoil hat on and started recording. Looking like a lovely young handmaid, if I do say so. But I encourage you to go out there and look for your own information and draw your own conclusions, and don't listen to people on the internet, especially if they look like me. Bigfoot. Robert Plant's crotch bulge. Documents with blacked out lines. Welcome to Rock and Roll Conspiracies. Conspiracies. Hi there, I'm Colin Lamb, aka The Tone Wizard, and welcome to Rock and Roll Conspiracies, episode number 2. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at 3 pieces of information which have come my way via the comments of some videos that I've previously done on my channel about the Insane Clown Posse. There were a couple of reaction videos that I did that you can check out if you feel like it on the channel. And in one of the episodes, I got a comment that gave me these 3 things that I really want to look into because they sound ridiculous to me. They sound far-fetched, and quite frankly, they sound like conspiracies. The user JuggaloBoy6JC left this comment on my Hocus Pocus review. He requested that I take a look at a song called In Yo Face, which I did. You can check out both those reactions on my channel. Anyways, he alluded to the fact that they had some kind of beef with Sharon Osbourne and Howard Stern. And I looked into it very briefly, and I was like, oh, perfect. I got to do a video on this because I saw all sorts of stuff, and I saw that Sharon owes them $50,000. And further down in the comments of my first video, somebody said that the Juggalos were recognized as a gang by the CIA. So I thought that those were 3 things to look into. Number 1, do they have beef with Sharon Osbourne? If they do, that's just fucking hilarious, and I want to know about it. Number 2, does she owe them $50,000? And number 3, does the CIA or the FBI or the federal government of the United States consider Juggalos to be gang members or terrorists or whatever? Let's take a look into that. Before we get into it, I just want to say if you have any conspiracies, music or rock related, please let me know in the comments below and I'll look into them. The more ridiculous, the better, because I mean, for God's sakes, just look at me. I will look into this stuff. I have clearly nothing better to do. And let me tell you something. If you are feeling cold, put a piece of tinfoil on your head. I know they use like tinfoil blankets in emergency situations, but seriously, if you're cold, I actually look like I look like I'm in the Handmaid's Tale or some kind of medieval cart pusher or something. Anyways, let me know in the comments if you have anything you want me to look into. Okay, so I think I've got the handle on this conspiracy shit because I'm looking into something that I'm interested in. I've watched one video and I feel like I have all the answers. And the video is only 3 minutes and 21 seconds long. The very first video that I pulled up when I searched Sharon Osbourne Insane Clown Posse feud was an interview that they did on May 27th, 2020 with Loudwire, and they pretty much literally answer the questions that I had. So number 1, apparently back in the day, they'd go on the Howard Stern show in the late 90s, early 2000s, and he would bring somebody on to try and manufacture a beef. So apparently there were 2 guys that came on the show and showed their dongs, and they were both painted like the 2 Insane Clown Posse guys. They also had Slipknot come on to the show, and Insane Clown Posse were actually very complimentary towards them. They said that they liked their costumes and that was entertainment, and they said, quote, nobody wants to see a guy with a flannel jacket tied around his waist playing an acoustic guitar sitting on a chair anymore, which is bad news for somebody like me of my vintage and my music taste. But in any event, they also showed a clip of Sharon Osbourne on the show with them, and she had made a bet with them saying that their next record wouldn't sell and that they'd be dropped from their label. Now, Violent J said in the Loudwire interview that record went gold, and that now they have their own record label, I think it is, and she's never paid them the $50,000. So Sharon Osbourne, as funny as you were in that television show, and as glad as I am that you are Ozzy Osbourne's caretaker, I truly am, because I think a couple of years ago, Ozzy Osbourne went walkabout. He took off for like 2 weeks, and they found him in a hair salon. That's probably another conspiracy there. What the fuck happened to Ozzy during that period of time? But no, Sharon, you owe them 50,000 because that record went gold, and I think they're on to this day. They're still putting out records. So Sharon, you're fucking wrong, and that answers question number 1 and 2. Sharon Osbourne have beef. Does Sharon Osbourne have beef with ICP? Yes, she does, via Howard Stern. And question number 2 I had was, does she still owe them $50,000? And yes, she does. So let's move along. Okay, no investigation is complete without a thoughtful sip of coffee here. So I've done a search on whether or not the Juggalos are classified as a gang or a terrorist organization, and I found a really good article right off the bat. So this article from Consequence says, it's been several years since the FBI classified Insane Clown Posse's group of fans, aka the Juggalos, as a loosely organized hybrid gang. Since then, there have been numerous legal challenges and even a march on Washington, D.C. I hope that it went better than the more recent marches on Washington, D.C. And seeing as how I didn't hear about it, it probably did. And that should say something, that Juggalos can do it peacefully. So why can't everybody else? Anyways, it also says the FBI report is in question now and has been declassified and available for full view below. The Juggalos, according to the FBI, follow the ICP in an almost religious manner, and notes that the group's teachings are embedded in their lyrics, movies, album covers, and websites. So they're basically implying that they're telling people what to do, I guess. Anyways, you can actually view the report here. So I'm going to take a quick skim through here and see what I can darn well see. The Juggalos are a violent street... This is right from the FBI report, which was declassified. The Juggalos are a violent street gang whose membership follow a small niche of the rap scene known as horrorcore. Horrorcore. Oh, no. The genre is mainly associated with the Detroit artists Insane Clown Posse, but has spawned a host of imitators who excite the crowds with musical horror stories in which murder, rape, and suicide are reoccurrent themes. The Insane Clown Posse can't get its music on the radio, but claims to have 1 million devoted fans who call themselves Juggalos or Juggalettes, and sometimes paint their faces to look like wicked clowns. This just sounds like somebody wrote this who is afraid of clowns, basically, and rap music, man. Because like I've heard rap music by guys who aren't dressed like clowns and don't have a devoted fan base like this, and it's much worse because it implies, without any layer of theater or performance, horrible things. Anyways, the Insane Clown Posse will host their 8th annual gathering of their followers in Cave-In Rock, Illinois. They're a Detroit-based hardcore rap group with a cult-like following, and then there's some information there that's been blacked out. I really feel like I'm on the trail of a conspiracy here. The two are known, I guess it's naming the two guys there. Maybe the two are known for violent and dark lyrics and perform what is known as hardcore or horrorcore rap. The fans of the group have been linked and are known to commit violent acts not only during concerts but at other times. Previous communications have documented the Juggalos as a legitimate gang with a large following. The fan base is known to number in the thousands, and they'll follow the ICP in an almost religious manner. These clowns, they inspire fear and pain. They're called hatchet men and have their own hand signs and slang. And these just sound like devoted fans of a band. And I've now that I've watched a bit of Insane Clown Posse stuff, I can truly say I think it's entertainment. It's macabre. It's maybe inappropriate or offensive to some people, but like that's art. This is art. Like they have fans, and as I've said in previous videos, I've done reaction videos to some of their songs. They're the nicest people that I've interacted with on the internet. I haven't been to any of these gatherings. I can't say whether or not any of this violence has occurred, but this just sounds like some 1960s rock and roll is the devil shit to me. They further promote their music with successful clothing lines, jewelry, miscellaneous merchandise to include hatchets. I mean, that's a given. That's like Duck Dynasty shit all over the place. What's the difference? Those guys are actually killing shit. There's a group of bearded men who manufacture duck luring products and murder ducks, lure ducks to their murderous death. Okay, so obviously I'm not a lawyer. I just kind of skimmed a FBI document, but everything I'm reading in there, it doesn't allege of any specific incidents of violence. From what I read, I didn't see it. So maybe I'm just going to take a quick look around the internet and see if I can find any evidence of their fans being violent. So I did a Google search for violence or crimes like related to Juggalos and the Insane Clown Posse, and I didn't find specific stuff that flashed up right away. What I did find was this link to the U.S. National Library of Medicine National Institute of Health, and what appears to be an article about violence, trauma, mental health, and substance use among homeless youth Juggalos. So they have gone so far as to classify a group of people as homeless youth Juggalos. And I skimmed through it. I honestly don't have time to review this article in its full, so I'm not going to make a conclusion about its validity, but what it appears to be doing is showing the relation of those things to Juggalos and even breaking them down in numbers and percentages and different demographics. And again, I'm not going to question the validity of this, what appears to be a study or this article, but what I am going to say is that in my brief experience of Juggalos and subcultures in general, of which I'm a part of the ween subculture in that group of people, there is a tendency of drug use and substance addiction in the ween community that I do know of, and that seems to be what is being implied with this article. But what I'm going to say is that Insane Clown Posse and bands like that, like ween, for my example, they are a little bit outside of the norm, and they tend to attract people who are a little bit outside of proper society or what have you. And the ways that people get there, in my own experience, might be related to trauma. And we definitely know that substance abuse and stuff like that are related to trauma. So to make the correlation that this band is the cause of that trauma, which I'm not suggesting that's what that article is doing, but is not really correct, because I think that a lot of that stuff stems from childhood. So bad experiences may lead people to feeling alienated, which leads to drug addiction, and also may lead to becoming involved in a subculture. But I don't think you could blame a subculture like the Juggalos for addiction. That's just my personal opinion. And again, I'm not questioning the validity of that article, and I will put a link to all this stuff in the comments. This video is not going the way that I thought it would. I thought it would be a lighthearted video, but now that I get into it, I can't help but looking at things a little deeper and more critically. Once again, this video has gotten much heavier than I thought it would, but I did a Google search, Juggalos and crime, and then I went to the news tab of Google, because that's usually where you'd see a news article relating to a specific incident. Like if you type in Florida man, it's Florida man steals mother's fake alligator, whatever. Everybody knows about that crap. But I went through it, and it's a lot of kind of conjecture about the band, and they're this or they're that. There's one article saying that dozens of people were arrested at the gathering of the Juggalos for almost all for drugs, it says. So those are drug possession charges, which we all know America doesn't have the most forward-thinking regulations and rules around drug possession. I think you can still go to jail for 10 years for having weed in some states. And again, I'm not a legal expert. I could be wrong on that. But most of this is just conjecture about them being a dangerous subculture and the band being offensive and so on and so forth. And even that FBI report didn't reference specific events, and even that article, as I said, was just kind of speculative in a correlation between drug use and the subculture. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I don't think there is any overwhelming violence associated with the Juggalos or the Insane Clown Posse. If I'm wrong, if you got something you'd like me to look into as a rebuttal or whatever, please, by all means, let me know in the comments, and I will be putting links to all these articles down below. So what are my conclusions in this video, which once again got way more serious than I had ever intended? Well, number one, Sharon Osbourne did have beef with the ICP, albeit manufactured beef via Howard Stern, the meddling bugger that he is. Number two, she does owe them $50,000 by the terms of the bet that she made with them. Their record went gold. They started their own record label, and they weren't dropped by the previous record label, and she owes them $50,000. And I think a classy thing to do with respect to Violent J and his recent health concerns might be to donate that money to charity on their behalf, or they could give the money to a trust for Violent J's kids or anything like that, or maybe there's like a youth Juggalo outreach program. I have no fucking idea. But number 3, the FBI definitely does consider the Juggalos to be, as they call it, a loosely organized hybrid gang. Whether or not that's based in paranoia and that kind of rock and roll is the devil mindset that's I thought was grossly outdated, especially in the context of some of the things that I've seen on regular television. Some of the ideals that are being promoted by regular reality TV are far more sickening than some of the maybe more violent and offensive but blunt things that the ICP has said. So this video, by the way, I feel the need to say just represents my sole opinions based on the limited amount of research I've done. But hey, if the internet has taught me anything in the last 2 years, is that you can do a limited amount of research on the internet and have a very strong opinion. So I'm going to leave the video there. Thank you very much for watching. If you've made it through this without crying or getting bored, thank you very much. And subscribe to my channel if you feel like it. Check out some of my other content and take very good care of yourself, no matter where you stand and no matter where your opinions lie in this world. Bye-bye.